Hey, what is going on, kids? Happy Monday and all that stuff. And I'm really excited. Keith's not here today, so this should be a really good
Woo!
show. Well, Keith's got a little sicky. He don't feel so good. Poor little guy. Poor little guy. So, what fun, exciting things did we do this weekend? I was building garden beds and getting that all wrapped up and nursing my wife's hangover Sunday. So that was uh, she's not a big drinker, and she pretty much yelled at me on Sunday morning. She's like, "Why did you keep bringing me shots?" I'm like, "Because it was fun for me."
I think my husband would agree with you on that one. I also drank a little too much Saturday night, and yesterday he had to take care of me all day.
There's a constant theme with most of us on the show, except for Doug doesn't hardly drink. So
is he allowed to be here then? I feel a little off about that.
He's doing it for a cool reason, though, right? He's doing it because he's building his empire, right? And he wants all the effort and energy to go towards that. So he's smarter than the rest of us. I mean,
that's okay. Let him get a decade in, and he'll be like, "Peace out." I'm gonna
right.
Willpower in that too, right?
I got about 7 months left, and then I can have a beer again. I had an NA beer the other day, and I was like, man, did I miss the taste of beer?
And having a non-alcoholic beer, what's the point, right?
I know, there is no point. It doesn't even taste the same.
Just drink a ginger ale. It's
right.
So,
that's what I drink when I can't drink.
But moving dirt sucks. Like, I don't know why. I'd just rather go buy the groceries than freaking grow my own, because it's just a lot of damn work. Tillers and rakes. And
why are you doing it again?
Because my wife told me to.
Okay.
the answer.
And when the world goes to shit, he'll be ready.
Right? Dude, I wear the pants in my family. Elizabeth picks them out every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to Scarborough Ren Fair. What's the name of it?
Scarborough Renaissance Fair. Yep.
Scarborough Renaissance Fair. I went there. Yeah, I know what it's called.
No, you don't. You drink. I mean, hello, you're not Doug.
Absolutely did. Absolutely drank all day yesterday, and so I'm right in the same boat that y'all were. So,
but unlike Keith, you're man enough to be here, so you get an extra point, baby Peyton. Extra point.
I didn't show
Gold star for Peyton.
So I'm here.
Did they have both the whip cracker guys there? Because I know Adam Crack was there, and then the other guy.
I only saw Adam Crack.
Okay, because the other guy who's like almost as famous as Adam, that travels around all of it, he does the drawn on mustache. He was there. Him and Adam did a couple of TikToks together that were fucking amazing. Adam Crack's got like 9 world records with a bullwhip. And good morning, Amy. And this other guy is going after every record that Adam Crack hasn't gotten. Yeah. So, and so they did this whole TikTok about why they hate each other, with the other ones cracking their whips in the background, just kind of making fun of each other the whole time. It was really well done. Nice. Yeah. Well, let's kick this thing off, Peyton.
Sure thing. Here we go. All right.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no. I've already failed. I got nothing.
I'm excited to see who gets knocked out when. I was expecting Keith to be the first one out. Well,
is it? No, I'll sit on that throne.
You gotta run me through this. I haven't seen it before. How does this work? You just say the answer? Or?
Yeah, so I'm going to go down the line. I'm going to pick Donnie first, and then we'll go down, and we'll see who. We're going to start off in elementary school, and then we'll move on to middle school, and then high school at the end. And whenever you get out, you don't answer anymore. And then I'll just keep going to see who survives the longest.
I think it's funny he thinks any of us are making it to high school.
We're going to see. I'm excited.
I'm terrible at this stuff.
Even if you'll get out too early, I'll just have to bring everybody back in, and we'll just
we'll keep going.
Trivia, I guess. Trivia can't last 30 seconds. That's the problem.
So should I just bow out now, or
Tony, go for it.
How many legs do insects have? Well, spiders have 8.
They're not an insect.
I know. That's why I'm trying to make
Whisper it to
deductive
us. Don't whisper the
reasoning.
answer.
The fact
Fuck,
that you
I
said
don't know.
deductive.
4.
Really?
Animals. 6. Fuck, I don't know. I really had no idea.
Is a spider not an insect?
Spider's not an insect. No.
A spider's a spider.
Correct.
It's an arachnid.
Right.
Oh, look
okay,
at
there
it.
you
Let's
go.
get all technical.
Okay,
and
Stevie's
shit.
winning.
No.
There's
Wait,
a proper term for it.
is this me?
Yeah, this is Stevie.
Oh no. Largest land animal in the world. An elephant?
Yeah. The
Hey!
I was gonna say African elephant. So.
True statement. True statement.
So is the rules we gotta have the technical answer?
No,
Arachnids.
no, y'all be out way too fast. All right,
Oh,
Bernie.
Oh
Bernie,
man.
trick question.
Oh, this is a trick question.
Trick question. Based on when you were born.
Is this done like how we grew up or what they say
or what
now?
it is now? Because those are two different answers, Peyton.
Oh
That was
man.
when I was growing up too, so I think the same is what I wrote down. Should be the same answer as y'all had growing up.
Okay.
Mm.
Uh,
I'm gonna go with 9.
yes.
Hey,
Oh,
See,
Ah,
it's not the same answer.
it's
We
not
grew
the
up with
same.
9
Pluto
planets.
answer.
We have 9.
No.
We have
Plus
Pluto.
Pluto.
We had Pluto.
Yeah.
I counted and I counted wrong.
it's rigged.
Okay,
Rigged,
okay.
Peyton.
I'll give it to you. I'll
Bernie,
give
you
it to
still
you.
get credit. 9
I'll
is
give it.
correct.
I'll give Bernie credit. Absolutely.
Hey, all
Pluto
right.
is a
All right,
planet.
Doug.
I'll die on that hill.
Oh, you have kids.
Scar.
You gotta go. Scar.
Yeah.
There it is.
Scar. Yeah, that was
You have
easy.
kids and don't get that, you're voted off the
Yeah,
planet.
right. And then this was going to be Keith's.
Oh,
I didn't know this.
It's the. I'll help him out. It's the Mississippi.
Yeah, Keith's out.
Hey, we made it to
The-
middle school, y'all.
The longest
Yeah.
river in Keith's mind is Denial.
I'm gonna sit here. And
Denial.
See, Amy knew spiders were not insects, Donnie.
Oh,
So
good job,
Yeah.
we should
Amy.
get her on the podcast next. She'll
Yeah,
answer
Amy's way
trivia
smarter than
better.
I am. How many teeth does a human? I have no fucking clue. Who counts teeth? 26.
You're out.
32. Well, okay. Are we counting how many teeth?
No, he's out.
Dang, he's ruthless.
He's out. I'm sticking to it.
Oh my
All right,
god.
moving on.
Enjoying
Stevie,
this
you
way
ready?
too much.
Oh, what's the name of
What's the name of the plant that traps?
yeah.
Come on, Stevie. You got it.
Can I come back in and answer?
Yes.
No. Stay out of here.
Why do I not know this? I know it. It's it's Audrey from Little Shop of
Yes.
Horrors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
What is that though?
Isn't it just Audrey from
No, it's not. It's not a name. It's a trap.
Oh, it's, yeah, I don't know.
Time's up.
Venus flytrap.
I know what it
That's
is.
the one.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Hey!
We'll call it just in time. We'll say it was just in time. Okay, Bernie, you ready?
It's rigged.
I'm ready.
If you're gonna keep jumping in, you might as well just stay here.
Oh,
Bernie, this one's yours. How many Great Lakes are located entirely in the U.S. territory?
How many
I
Great Lakes are there?
think it's only the Great Lakes, refer to the Great Lakes around Michigan, which Erie, Superior, Michigan, 4.
They are located entirely in the United States territory.
I don't know any other ones that are called Great Lakes. Other than
Yeah, but the thing is, they're not all
They're not.
fully
Some of
located.
them cross over.
hey, no hints. No hints.
Yeah. Why
No,
you cheating?
that's it. Lake Michigan is the only one.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Me either.
Bernie, I
brutal.
would give you bonus points for naming all the Great Lakes, but I won't.
Hey, Peyton, you dropped some. Oh, there it
Are
is.
you kidding
Doug,
me?
easy effing questions.
Are you kidding me?
Doug, what do you call a baby goat?
I don't have goats.
You have 2 in your household.
Yeah, you do have 2.
It's true.
What?
What's another
Boys?
name for children?
Boys?
No.
Close.
Three
On?
letter word.
Kid.
Are you freaking kidding me?
That
That was
give you-
Donnie's question. That was not my question.
Oh my gosh.
And Amy, you can absolutely keep
play.
participating, shouting it out.
You could have answered that one a little earlier.
We'll
so
go back.
Holy
This one's going to be
Jesus.
Keith's
Oh, no.
if you made it this far.
Okay. Wright
The
brothers,
names of the
Pioneer.
Wright brothers. Does anybody know the names of the
Yeah,
Wright
it's
brothers?
D.
D.
Yeah.
Orville and Wilbur.
Well,
George and Clancy.
George and- Just pick some old sounding names. It'll be good. Somebody will pick it, right? All right. Stevie,
Oh, fastest. Explaining.
fastest.
No fucking clue.
I looked up grade school trivia, and this was 5th grade. The fastest spinning planet in the solar system.
What planet do you want to not be on when you have a hangover?
Oof. Any of them.
Mars.
It
I got no
is
clue.
Jupiter.
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 There you go.
I would have guessed Saturn.
Out.
It looks fast.
Out. Down to 2. And we're on to high school.
Oh, shit.
All right, Bernie. True or false? You need 50-50 shot.
I think actually
I know the answer.
I think it's true because I know that there is a country that has the unicorn as its national animal. I don't know that it's Scotland though.
Final answer.
Fuck it. True.
True. Yeah. Bernie's still in it. All right, Doug. What
That's a
element are
multiple choice.
human beings composed of predominantly?
I don't even know half those words.
Yeah, we know. We know. We're not surprised. Get out of here. Any guesses?
Carbon.
It is carbon.
Oh, gosh.
Was that completely a guess?
No, it was between carbon and oxygen. I'm like, oxygen doesn't make any sense. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with carbon.
All right, back to Bernie. What was the first state in America?
Ooh.
Plymouth.
No.
Rock.
Whatever he's saying is wrong. First one.
Man. Connecticut.
Oh,
Wrong. It was Delaware. All right. Because it's the last down to the two of you, I'm going to make Doug get the next one right in order to be the final winner. If he messes it up, Bernie, you're back in it.
Don't fuck it up, Doug.
Returning from war, suffer from what today we call PTSD. What was the medical term back in World War One?
I know this one.
World War One. This is high school?
Yep. Eventually, your kids will be there. They'll be getting this question. Or they'll change up everything and they won't get this question at all. Who knows?
Manic depression.
It was shell shock.
Shell shock.
Oh,
Bernie's back in.
I did not know that actually.
What company owns Lamborghini, Ducati, Porsche, Audi, and Bugatti?
This cannot be a high schooler's question.
This was on the high school trivia. That's all I've got.
Where do you study that?
Right?
Like pre-business?
I mean, the college I went to was an automotive school for automotive marketing, and we didn't even learn this.
It's the same company that owns all of them. And it's also another car company.
I'm going to say Mercedes-Benz.
No, Volkswagen owns all of those, which I thought was crazy. I figured that out.
All these influencers are driving Volkswagens.
Yeah, exactly, right? All right, back to Doug.
Somebody else's Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Arctic.
Wrong again. Rainforest.
Ooh,
Man,
man.
y'all are
I
still
thought
in
the
it.
North Pole
Hang
and
on.
South
Just
Pole
staying
were
alive.
expensive.
Here, let's bring back the peanut gallery. Just between Bernie and
Oh,
Doug.
I got bored since I was kicked out, so I'm doing something else. right
Oh,
now
you're doing work
because
things.
you didn't let me like come back on and make comments. I don't have the
unavailable.
ability like Donnie, so I'll keep playing. I'm gonna finish what I'm doing.
Okay.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that, Stevie. It was not me. I was listening to you.
That was Donnie.
It was Donnie.
I
That's why
just
he's
did
laughing so hard.
anybody else not realize Scotland was spelled wrong?
No, I didn't notice that.
Oh my
Anyways,
gosh, it was
because I'm
driving me
Scottish.
insane.
Bernie,
The question
what did
shouldn't have counted because you spelled Scotland wrong.
Okay, fine. You want to be back in? I don't
Yes,
think you
please.
do.
Hi.
Okay. Then, Stevie, this is your question then.
Oh, geez.
What was World War I referred to as?
Just the war.
Way back.
Was it the war
Just
to
the
end all
war.
wars?
The war to end
Or
all
the
wars?
Great War?
Or the Great Wars? One of the two. That's two that I was
Yeah.
The Great War.
The
Yeah.
Great War, yeah.
All right. I don't know how many questions I got because I didn't think we would
All
keep
right.
going.
Let's call it
Group
I
answer,
won.
so.
Let's roll it.
Okay. Moving on. We're done.
This is Doug Mitchell, a sales program builder under the name Building Great Sales Teams. Doug started his company in 2011 and joined the San Antonio chapter of Success Champions Networking in August of last year. You can find more info at bgst24.com. His current business goal is to acquire equity in 5 companies that are all over $100 million in profit. And today, Doug gets the hot seat with the Success Champions team.
All right, Doug. I love those intros. They're just a lot of
They're
fun,
super cool.
right? So, man, I got to tell you, it's been fun getting to know Doug. We found each other through podcasting and just seem to continue to partner up on a lot of stuff. Like, I'm stoked, and we'll talk about it for sure to come down in July and speak at your event. So that's going to be an absolute blast. So, but Doug, really quick, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and then hit us with what's the hot seat question we can help you out with today.
Yeah, well, obviously, my name is Doug Mitchell. I've been building sales teams for 14 years now. 13 of them were for a sales org that I took over ownership of in 2011. And I grew it from 6 salespeople to 110. Over the 13 years, I averaged roughly 55 salespeople or so. You know, we had multiple campaigns: AT&T, DirecTV, Vivint, B2B, telemarketing. You know, we try to get our hands in everything and figure out what was hot in the market at the time. And one of the things I realized in building sales teams was it was very systems and processes based. And it wasn't what you watch in the movies growing up. It wasn't this, you know, go find the best salespeople out there. It was very much like, do you have a duplicatable, teachable system that you can scale with, you know?
Yep.
And so because I figured that out, a lot of people, especially when I started masterminding, getting in groups like this, a lot of people ask me, well, how do you build sales teams? Okay, well, let me put together a system for it, and let me put together a document structure so, you know, anybody can plug and play, and they can take these templates and, you know, they can run with them. And that's where Building Great Sales Teams was born. The podcast was born. And then I started consulting full time at the end of 22. And it's kind of taken off from there.
That's awesome, dude. To build those large of a sales team is freaking impressive. You know, a lot of people never get past hiring their first salesperson because it's not easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work. So extremely impressive. And no wonder so many people are snatching you up to having you come in and help them literally build out their own teams. So, talk to us a little bit about what's the biggest thing that we can help you. I know we're going to be ready to talk about your event. So give us tell us about the event and then tell us what you want to accomplish with it.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you get into this space and you start putting content out there, there's kind of this, you got to do the podcast, you got to write the book, you got to host the event.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I have not written the book. I've done the podcast. I'm coming up on 300 episodes now. And, but the event just makes sense to me because it's very, you know, in consulting in general, it's very hard to write a book on something and expect somebody just to take it and apply it to their business versus an immersive event where you can do Q&As and ask questions and you can go and learn and get the structure and then fill it in with your business. It's exciting to me. And I've been through a lot of events the last couple of years. I've probably been to 40 to 50 events, maybe spoke at another 15. And so I definitely took a lot away from all of them. But I will say, when I went up to Fort Worth, what was it? What has it been like, a year and about a
Yeah.
year ago?
Yeah, almost.
When I went up to Fort Worth a year ago, well, first of all, I was a panelist at y'all's event. So the first thing I recognized is, man, the marketing's on point. You know what I mean? Like, they're giving me material, they're giving me ways to promote the event, and that's one of the things that speakers don't get near enough of. It's like, why are you not taking advantage of their following, right?
Yep.
And so that was the first thing. And then the second thing was, how well the marketing was done. And then when you got to the event, everything was so well organized, and I had to leave during it because after the panel, I had a speaking engagement, and then I came back the day after, and I didn't miss a beat. I didn't feel like I was out of place. Didn't know, I knew what was going on. There was a schedule, there was an itinerary, and everything was flowing in on time. And I know how hard it is to do that within an event. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And the seats were full of quality people. Which is rare. There's usually about 80% of people that are just going to show up. They're going to get the rah, and then they're going to go home and do nothing. Right? These were all people that you could tell were implementing at the event.
Yep.
And which was really cool to see. So I was very impressed with the event. And since then, I've had a few inspirations here and there to do one. But I knew I wanted it to be value based. I didn't want any pitching from stage. I've been to these. I just went to an event a couple of weeks ago, and it was a really good content for the first day, and then the day two was like they just brought us back to pitch us.
Yeah.
On an upgraded.
God, it's so annoying.
They did the whole value build for 2 hours. Like, what would you pay for this? What would you pay for that? What would you pay? It's like 300,000, and but we're gonna give it to you for 15 grand.
Right.
Like, oh, you guys got me. You got me on that one. It's like, come on.
I don't know how they
man.
still do that, man, in this day and age. We've all seen it 100 times.
People
Because
still buy it there. That's the thing.
It's because we go to a lot more events, and we're around this stuff a lot more than
True.
most people. And one of the personalities they had at that event, he was a very universal personality. What I mean by that is a lot of people follow him because his content is very fast food. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's not very penetrating. It's very like makes you feel good. And then you can execute it on the sales side, And so like there's a lot of first timers at that.
Mm.
So I'm sure they did well. I'm sure they did well. And so I guess my question is, what do you feel like are some things that I can make sure to have at my event that when somebody walks out the door of the event, they're like, I almost feel like I stole that ticket because it was $197 or it was $297 or VIP's $997, like, but I got way more than I paid for.
Mhm.
What do you feel like are some key components that have to happen in order for somebody to feel like that when they're walking out?
As I always look at events, 9 times out of 10, I'm going for the network versus the knowledge. Right. So I'm picking events to make sure I get a chance to meet the right people on there. The knowledge is an extra bonus for me. So the caliber of the audience is a lot. I want to be sitting next to people that are doing big things and are they could be up there on that stage teaching some of the stuff they've done as well, right? So I've got a lot more, but I want to hear the rest of you guys pipe in. That's the first thing that I'm looking for. Who's actually in the audience?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that a lot of events miss is 80% of what makes a good event happens before the event. And I think that's a key part that people don't think about. Number one, are people excited, right? Marketing, are you getting the right people in the room? All those kinds of things. But then from the minute they show up, how are you making them feel like this is going to be valuable day one? Like from minute one, walking through the doors, what's their experience? I think too many people worry about what happens in the room and not enough people worry about all the things that happen before they get to the room.
Mhm.
Right? Because 80% of whether they feel it will be a good event is based on their first impression, which usually happens before they walk in the room.
Mhm.
So how are you getting people excited? How are you marketing to the right people? How are you making sure that when they walk in that, whether it's a hotel or a conference room or whatever, what are they feeling? What's the vibe they're getting as soon as they get there? Because if you can make all of that work for you, then what happens in the room will happen naturally because they're already in the right space. They're already ready to go. They're already feeling like there's value by their first impression. And I think sometimes people forget that. And so then, right, we don't get a lot of good marketing. We're not really sure what we're going to. Maybe we're going to it because a friend told us we should. So, okay, but I didn't really see a lot that spoke to me. I don't really know what I'm going to get. And then I get there and, I'm not seeing the schedule or I'm not feeling excited by the music or by the lighting or whatever. And so now I'm in the room. The problem is if you're already sitting in the room and you're unsure, then your speakers have to be the best ever.
Yeah.
And the reality is most of us don't have the best ever speakers all the time. There's going to be a handful of duds at every event. That's just normal. Usually it's Donnie, but there's going to be but like if you've done so much goodness up till that point, you can have those duds and nobody will notice.
Okay.
Right. And then it's okay because you've done so much else that's good to get them prepped and ready before you get there. So I'm going to give you this, Doug, only because I went through, if anybody is ever interested in transformational event design, there's a whole certification you can get out of Denmark, and it's cool. It's called Chaos Pilot. But there's 5 E's, right, for every event. So there's excitement, entry, engagement, exit, extension. Right? So excitement is how you get them excited for the event. Entry is how they enter the event. Engagement is during the event. Exit is how do you get them to leave the event feeling ready to go. And then extension is how do you connect with them after the event is over so that you continue that process, right? So like with Babs last year, we did a follow-up 90 days after. Let's all get on a Zoom and talk about what we've done in 90 days. Right. So being able to have that extension is also a piece of that. So if that ever helps you, that's something I look at for every single event is those 5 E's.
Okay.
And how am I doing those?
I love it.
Yeah. Stevie, I'm going to dovetail right from where you're at, because for me, it's all about the energy and all about the engagement.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Right. Because at the end of the day, people want to show up and they want to feel what's being delivered, not just hear it. And a lot of times these events, it's somebody standing on stage just kind of lecturing at them. You can't just lecture with today's audiences. You have to engage. You have to get them involved. You have to be doing, you have to be doing activities, right? Yeah. You have to get the blood moving a bit. So for me, those are the 2 things. It's really the energy and it's the engagement.
Yeah. I want it immersive, but I also want them to break the 4th wall. And what I mean by that is, like on TV, when the actors, kind of break character, look at the camera and start talking to the camera and they really break it up. Most times people get like in this trance when they're at the events, right? Like it's like going to freaking youth camp where you're there and everything is miraculous and great at youth camp, but then you got to go home, right? And the real world hits you.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to break that 4th wall so they don't get into that trance-like state. I mean, I want them to be empowered in the right, but that 4th wall is cool. How are they working on it right now? Like, how are they implementing it right now so it continues to work when they're beyond the event?
Yeah.
So some of the things that like we, require at the Badass Business Summit is the speakers have to stay the entire time and sit in the crowd. Right. I want the people to understand that these speakers have done amazing, awesome things, but they wake up and put their pants on the same way every morning. Right. Right. So they're not sitting on some sort of pedestal. And I've turned down speakers that refuse to stay the entire time. So other ways to break the 4th wall is, you got to get the speakers to actually work with the audience. Work the stage, own the stage, but bring the audience into the conversation. One of my favorite ways is one of the biggest ways Stevie hates. I love the Q&A. You know, in an all-day event, there's places you can put it in there. If you're just doing a keynote type thing, don't do it. You give away your power in Stevie's terms, right? But it's got to be extremely immersive, but it's got to break that fourth wall. Don't let them get to that state. That's what they do in those sales conferences, like the one you were just talking about.
Yeah.
They're going to get them all into that bubble, into that mindset, so they make a purchase decision without actually thinking. They get them to an emotional state to buy.
It's like a mini cult.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
I want to break that idea because if you don't, they won't go home and continue implementing it.
Right.
You know?
Well, and one of the big things about like Q&As is always making sure that if you're doing like a multiple day event or like an all day event, never save Q&A for the end.
Oh, that makes sense. It takes all the energy.
It takes all the energy out of the room. It has a bad ending, right? And I do talk a lot to speakers about don't give away your power. Once you allow a Q&A to happen, the audience has power. That's a great thing at a long event, in the middle, interspersed. But if you're at just like an all-day event, or if you're just doing a 1-hour presentation and then you do the Q&A at the end, that's your ending, and that doesn't work well, right? So thinking about where can you put those Q&As, like you talk about having an itinerary, having a schedule, where can you put the Q&As that they're going to have? It gives the audience power, which is a good thing. They buy in, but you still get the ending you want, right? Where you have power, the speaker has power, or whatever that thing is, right? So also thinking about, I think schedule is super important at events, making sure that you think about, number one, who's your opener and who's your closer. Those should be your two best people.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. If you're running an event for you to build business, you need to be either the opener or the closer, always. Not bury yourself in the middle. That's never a good space. And then on your agenda, always making sure, right, as Donnie said at the very beginning, network over knowledge. Are you having break times for them to actually meet each other and talk to each other, right? Because sometimes events go so back to back that there isn't that. And then I feel like the event doesn't have the same impact because people like that. People want to meet each other. They want to have these conversations. And again, to Donnie's point, if you put your speakers in that audience, now Q&A is happening organically. And you don't have to set aside time for it. If you have that networking time, your speakers are answering questions all day long. And that's not a bad thing either.
I just had an idea, and we haven't done this at the summit, but you live events, right? This is true. But I think it'd be a cool idea if more events would stage their speakers, like in certain parts of the rooms during breaks, and say, hey, Donnie's going to be over here, Doug's going to be over here, Stevie's over here, if you want to go interact. Because sometimes people see people on stage and they get this, oh my God, that's the speaker. And there's that fear to approach. Right. It's why I always tell speakers, man, you got to get into the crowd with the people. Right. You know, but if you stage them so people knew where to go, even if they don't have the courage to ask a question, they can be around them to try and get that inner courage to go.
I just did that at an event in Colorado, just like literally a week ago.
That's awesome.
I was in Denver, and the lunch, that's how they did lunch. It was a networking lunch. You could do whatever, but every speaker sat at a different table. And they announced that before we broke for lunch and said, like, if you want to continue the conversation with these speakers, feel free to head to their table to eat lunch. And so I had a table full, and I ended up using lunch to continue our conversation. And that was really cool.
It's a surefire way to figure out what speaker nobody likes.
Well, that also did occur, but I wasn't going to say that. But luckily, right, the organizer could recognize that enough that I noticed she went and sat at that table. So for noticing and then doing it. But that's such a great suggestion. It was a really great lunch. And it gave me extra value because as a speaker, because I got to connect with those people individually, hand out my card, have those conversations. So that's going to end up being more money for me later because they gave me that opportunity. That's a great suggestion.
You know, something else. And I don't like taking notes in somebody else's pages. I like taking my own notes because that's how I am. But I do know a lot of people want notes that they can follow along with. So they can listen better by filling in the blank or
Yep.
you know and the like. So having handouts, looking at a lot of your speakers, I don't think any of them can really have handouts, but you know, the crowd does tend to like to have, you know, things that they can follow along with.
Yeah.
So
No, I love the
Follow
workbook
on
idea.
takeaway.
Yeah.
I would also say this, Doug, just for your event, and I'm sure that this is whether you thought about it or not, it just is. One of the things to think about is your speakers should always look like your audience.
Yes. 100%.
Right. So you
Yeah.
have an all male
Mhm.
speaking lineup, right? So that means you're going to attract an all male audience
Yeah.
for the most part.
I've got one girl on a panel. I got in trouble with my wife already.
There you go. Well, and that's okay. I don't mean that to sound like I'm not. I get it, but like that's something to also think about when you're talking about growing audience. Is what audience do you want to see? That's who you should have on your stage.
Yeah.
And that comes not just only in like looks, like gender or race, or any of those things, but it's also about thinking about level of business.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of times people put up speakers who have all done big, like everybody up here has made multiple millions. Some of your audience won't interact because of that. They're too far away from where they're at. So in your speaker lineup, having some people that are a little lower in those goals, because they're more approachable to certain audience members. So it actually making that diverse is important. And I don't know that about your team. I'm just looking at the graphic.
Well, and I'll tell you along those lines, we did a CEO panel, and the CEOs that we chose were way up here, and our audience was, you know, on this level. The CEOs were talking so far over most people's heads.
The audience didn't get it.
They didn't get it. There was a massive disconnect. The sales panel that you happen to be on freaking crushed. We got so much feedback on that because people were into it. But it's
because it felt more
applicable.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Relevant. So that's another thing to think about too, just when you're picking speakers, and then how you're positioning them, especially if you have a lot of people that are really, really successful, and maybe your audience isn't all really, really successful. You know, mix it up. Have some of those, you know, kind of lower, maybe just.
Well, that's why I invited Donnie.
I didn't want to say put Donnie in the middle because he's approachable and not very successful. No, just kidding.
Nice.
No, we got all. I mean, and that's the thing. Some of us, you know, we had big businesses in the past, but now we're, you know, consulting full time, so the businesses are a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But what I love is honestly the panels. I'm very excited about the panels. We're doing a door to door and a sales panel.
Nice.
And the sales one is the one that Maria is on, and she's like an up and comer in the space in terms of influence, I guess you could say. And so, but a lot of the people on the panels are very much in that like 3 or 4 year journey. You know what I'm saying? But they're either clients or I've seen them have a lot of progress in the last year. And I kind of want to utilize that progress they've had in the past year because everybody in the audience is right here.
Yeah, right below that. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep, that's perfect. And panels always can be a great like break up to your event to put panels in there. Because sometimes it just brings a different dynamic with getting different people to answer questions.
Well, and that's what I'm going to do, the Q&As.
Yeah.
Panels. Yeah.
And one thing I've learned the hard way, doesn't matter what you do with your speaker lineup, somebody's going to get pissed off over it.
Oh God, yes.
One of the speakers?
No, just it doesn't matter who your lineup is, like any event you host. Okay. Somebody's going to get mad of how you chose your speakers because it doesn't represent this enough. It doesn't have enough of this. It doesn't, right? Somebody's always going to come at you. You don't have enough women. You don't have enough men. You don't have enough this. You don't have enough that. Okay. Just put your speaker lineup together and don't worry about it.
Yep.
Do I act like I care or no?
That's a great. Donnie would say, "Don't even act like you care."
No, I give the political correctness answer when people come at me and try and explain, "Hey, we're hitting a target demographic, you know, type thing. There's more to think about." But
honestly, they're my friends.
right.
Yeah,
You know what I
Right.
mean?
absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
they're just my friends, you
But
know?
we
And
live in a everybody gets a trophy world, so
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
Mhm.
uh,
Do you
I
train your have you seen all of your speakers speak?
Yes, 100, like multiple times. Yeah. And we already had we had a speaker meeting, and we're
Cool.
gonna have a few more before we actually do it. And
Yeah.
I'm trying my best to get the synopsis of their talks and stuff, so I can do a workbook like that.
Yeah.
Where three big takeaways from Donnie's talk, and leave them spaces to put those in. There's no right answer kind of thing,
Yeah, for sure. That's
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
things that we've had people, so you have your schedule in your handbook, but having a display somewhere where people can
Yeah.
see it, whether it's printed out or
Mhm.
seeing some of the feedback we've gotten back. And
That's funny. That's funny. But this is the only way I get a trophy.
That's awesome.
Aw.
So, make sure you collect feedback.
Surveys afterwards.
Well, we do it during the event
Yeah.
because doing it afterwards, they're already beyond the event.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we will throw a QR code up on the screens and make them go into an app and fill it out right then and there.
Nice.
That way you'll never do it. The second thing is think about what's next. Are you going to do another event? Are you going to do something else? Right? Because it's easier to sell for the next one
Mhm.
while
Right.
they're there at this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, and whatever you are, not that we ever want to pitch, right? But eventually, I mean, at some point, everybody knows we're trying to make money. Never pitch at the end.
That makes
Never
sense.
pitch
Yeah.
at the end. If you're doing a 2-day event, you do it midway through either the first day or the second day, depending on what you have overnight.
Yeah.
If you're doing a 1-day event, pitch about right after lunch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So never pitch at the end because people just tune out and people are tired. So they're not making their best choices. But just like Di said, if you're going to, what's your next thing? Be promoting that the entire time. Don't wait till the end to promote it.
Yeah. Talk about it.
Yeah. Just go
Yeah.
ahead and have it all the time on your, like, if you have a break, put it on the slide that shows on the screen during the break.
Mhm.
So that they're like looking at it and they're like, oh, I should put that on my calendar or whatever it is. And then to the surveys and gathering feedback, again, never do it at the end.
Okay.
Not a good way to leave, right? We want to exit people the right way. So if you're going to ask for feedback at the event with a QR code, you want to do it an hour or two before the event ends.
Is the event your
Doesn't
event?
get everything, but it's better than ending on it.
For sure.
Mhm.
Something else that popped up, I think it was year 3 into the summit was, no, granted, ours is 3 days, yours is 1, but
Mhm.
having a fitness workout routine in the mornings, I was amazed how many people signed up and did that. We had last year probably 20 people, of 150 go work out in the morning.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think, we just tend to attract a lot more people that are taking care of themselves. I didn't
Yeah.
go work out because I was 3 days on stage is enough of a beatdown.
Right.
Right. But having something collective like that, and then having an experience, making sure everybody knows all the things they can do in the area as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we tend to get a lot of out of towners, and with the out of towners, they're want to go see stuff as much as you want them to stay together and continue to network.
Yeah.
They're going to go see the town.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about having it on a Friday too, is they can take the weekend if they want.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. For you, don't do much before the day before, because have you done your own event like this before?
And all
Not
day.
like this, no.
Dude,
Yeah.
get
Gonna
ready
work
for the mental exhaustion you are not prepared for.
Yeah. You will don't do anything that weekend. You won't be able
Yeah.
to get out of bed.
Yeah, I was floored of how much it takes out of you. I've gotten better over the years,
Mhm.
but there's been in past years where I took people to the airport and didn't even say a word. I'm just a zombie state,
Yeah.
nuked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy you say that, because attending events will do that to you. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine running
Oh,
an event, That's why I'm like, I have my marketing person and she's going to be at the event. I have my event coordinator. She's going to be at the event. And then we're going to have probably 3 just general staff.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
so like I've seen what guys look like after they run an event, and I'm just like, no, I need all the help I can get.
Yeah, for sure. And
500 bucks ain't gonna break me. I need to
your
spend it.
your yeah, 100%. Your team needs to bring you the decisions they've made.
Mhm.
Right?
That's
They
the
don't
problem.
yeah, they don't need to be coming to you saying, "Hey, what do we do here?"
Yeah.
Right? They need to come and inform you, "Hey, this happened. This is what we did about it."
Mhm.
Right? If you're trying to handle decisions, you're just gonna mentally destroy yourself.
Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
you know,
Also have a space. Are you having it at like a hotel or is it like a venue?
It's a venue. Both spaces are venues. One of them I'm looking at right now is a mortgage company that took over an event space that basically and here's the crazy part. They'll give it to me for free with a cleaning fee if they can pitch for 3 minutes.
Okay.
Then I have another space that I know is going to cost me around 8 grand. You know what I'm saying? Total.
Yeah.
And it's amazing space. It's right next to a club. It's also next to the Alamo Dome. You know, it's right next to downtown, but far enough away you're not in the craziness. You know, and it's an old train station in
Oh.
downtown San Antonio. It's
remember
just
the
cool.
experience is a lot.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's just cool as shit. And like my wife's over here doing the P&L for the event already, and she's like, "Yeah, take the free one." And I'm like, but that free one could break me because I'm gonna have a mortgage company going up there and pitching everybody, you know.
Mhm.
And she's like, "It's 8 grand," and I'm like, "Well, are they gonna come back the year after and the year after? You know what I mean? Are they gonna tell their friends about it? Is it gonna be like the event that everybody wished they didn't miss because it was so cool?"
Dude, I'll
So
tell you,
here's
one of
here's
the
something
events
to
go ahead, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Yeah, here's something to consider though, right? If you do such a kick-ass experience year one, make sure you can continue to afford it.
Yeah,
That
Yeah,
is something I feel like we struggled with a little bit with
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Yep.
Our first year was an amazing location, but
Yeah.
it cost us so much money. And now, to be fair, Donnie had it in 2020, so that just sucked.
Yeah.
But so that's really the issue. But at the same time, then we couldn't afford that same space because the rates went up, and we were like, "Well, we're not paying for that." Unfortunately, though, it changed the experience.
Mhm.
So I think the $8,000 is totally worth it for a great experience, as long as
Yeah.
you can guarantee that you can have the exact same experience next year. If it takes so much money out of your budget that you can't do it next year, then it's not worth it.
The only reason I'm optimistic is because I'm capping it at 100 people, you know.
Okay.
And so next year, if the price goes up, I just bring more people, and they have the
There you
space.
go.
Like
Yeah.
the space is oversized,
Right.
so like I'll have a ton of room for sponsors, a ton of room for the VIP area, and like my whole thing is space. I hate feeling claustrophobic. You
Don't
know,
look at the ticket numbers. Don't look at the ticket sales
what do you mean?
because
Oh yeah. Well,
because
here's the good thing. I'm like because my friend, my friends and the people that know me and the people that always wanted to work with me, but like couldn't afford it yet, they're all buying the VIP and the platinum. You know what I'm
nice.
saying?
Mhm.
So I'm getting the heavy ones out of the way, which is nice, and the rest I'm basically okay with breaking even on and spending on, ad dollars on.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah,
So we're
'cause
gonna be doing ad sales.
yeah, nobody prepares you for how difficult it is to sell an event
Yep.
and to fill seats. Um, it's wild, and even so, the day of the event, people will still be trying to buy and come in.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right? Uh, uh, absolutely insane to me. Um, on the go ahead.
I'm gonna do like airline tickets. The price is going up.
Right. On the venue and experience, one thing that I really start thinking about is the footage and film and everything from this event is all your marketing for the next one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the visual experience, whether you go with the cool location or the free location,
Mhm.
it's all of your marketing for the next event. So you got to make sure that the dynamics of that presentation are enough to show people that this is something they want to be a part of in the future.
Yep.
Yeah, that you can point the camera anywhere and it
Yep.
look good.
There
Right.
you go. Then that's what matters. And make sure seating is also important in
Mhm.
those. Something people don't think about is where are the empty seats.
Mhm.
Always stick all your heads in the center front.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. So if you have anybody that you can control where they sit, have them all sit there. Because one of the things you won't think about is as the day goes on, they'll all start to spread out and then it looks more empty.
The shots look rough.
Yep. Fill the good seats. Yeah, always, always.
Right. And something else to think about is the experience you want them to have determines the seating. If you want them to really just learn, you do classroom. If you want them to network, you do rounds.
Yep.
You know, so
we're gonna do classroom
Yep.
because just me, the event's gonna reflect my personality, which is super tactical. Luckily the rest of my speakers are like better speakers and not boring. You know what I mean? So, but
there's Donnie.
It'll be a nice mix. It'll be a nice mix.
Yeah.
Good.
And then keep your low energy and your high energy going back and forth.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
You want your super tactical for guys and gals to be followed by your energy. So to keep it all up.
So as we come down on time, because Donnie and I will talk events for 8 hours.
For sure.
It's our favorite thing. But I know if Keith were here, so in Keith's honor, he would ask, what are you going to take away from everything we've talked about today?
Oh, okay. So I've got a list.
Oh, perfect.
Wow.
So it's things that you confirmed I'm headed in the right direction, right? Like I'm closing out with Mike Claudio.
Okay.
Who's an amazing speaker who just like, you know what I mean? He
Yeah.
sends you out the door on fire, right?
Cool.
And so that was a big one. The workbook, I have been leaning in that direction. Definitely going to do that now. So definitely taking that away. Right after lunch, like the pitch push be right after lunch, because that's probably going to come from the MC, but it's going to be very much like, hey, if you think you need help after this event, go over to Doug's booth right there. You know what I mean? It's going to be something like that,
Yeah.
The fitness routine in the AM, I wasn't worried about that. I had always done it with Mark at different events and stuff, like Mark Z, different events. But, now that makes sense. You create a sense of community before you even go to the event, and now people know each other, And then, you guys were talking about marketing before and giving them an idea of what they're going to solve before they go to the event. So the pain points being in the marketing after they buy a ticket, and you sending them out those things like, hey, are you dealing with this? We're going to go over X, Y, and Z. Are you dealing with this? That's definitely one of my takeaways. And then break the fourth wall, get the speakers in the crowd, the music, the light. I mean, what y'all confirmed for me more than anything is it's worth the 8K, like we talked about. Like that matters,
Yes.
and a lot of people think it shouldn't matter. I think it shouldn't matter, but I'm not my demographic.
It does, though.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm the guy that gets the information on stage and actually goes and implements it, or says, hey, that was a crock of shit. I'm never doing that. You know what I mean? But you're right. Like it's a lot easier to receive that information when, you've had good coffee and you're in a beautiful environment, you know what I'm saying? And you're being fed well, so that was probably my biggest takeaway so far.
Good.
I've got a ton of notes. So
that's awesome.
Awesome.
That's awesome. We're having a blast doing these, man. I mean, just the takeaways of doing these live and the feedback we continue to get. It's just a lot of fun. So,
well, the game before loosens everybody. Well, I mean, you guys are already loose. I mean, let's just
we do it for our guests. Let's be honest.
They can laugh a little bit once they get those endorphins going. Then it's a lot.
There you
easier.
go. There you go. Cool.
So,
well, awesome, Doug. We can't wait to hear all about it. Hear how it went, all the things. That's what we should do. We should have Doug back afterwards.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about like how to go, what you do. Yeah. Postmortem. Let's do it. I think that would be great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Very cool.
Hey, Peyton, in chat, I put up the graphics for in Slack. I put up the picture for Doug's event. Will you grab that, post it up for him so we can get some eyeballs on that? Let's do events, guys. What's coming up? What are we promoting? What are we getting after?
I got nothing right now. To the very, very end of May, I am traveling my butt off. So I'm just going to be traveling.
Barney, what do you got?
I got actually 3 virtual events this week. I'm doing one with a fractional human resource individual, Stacy Dennis. She's doing a master class around the mastering compliance and culture and avoiding HR pitfalls. So that one's tomorrow. Doing a kind of a master class with Jennifer Fry, Disruptor Discussions. So she's bringing on disruptors from the industry, whatever industry they're in, and talk about what makes them a disruptor and what they do that can help their clients. And then one of my fractional chief learning officers, Lauren Brownstone, is doing an event on Thursday about her book, Enabling Enablement. And this one specifically is about the ways that senior leaders accidentally undermine behavior change.
Oh, interesting.
Ooh, I like that one. Very cool.
Nice. We've got the Champion Summit coming up May 10th here in Dallas. We're actually doing it in Addison. So that'll be a half-day event at the meeting place. Really cool. And of course, we got the Badass Business Summit coming up September 18th through the 20th. That's always just a killer event. And Doug will be sitting on a podcast panel for us there at that event. So, and then Doug's event, if you got that graphic by chance, Peyton, there you are, is Build Great Sales Team on July 12th. Look at that motley crew. I mean, amazing lineup. So just a lot of really cool things. And I'm pretty stoked. Right now, we've got 9 verbal commitments to launch chapters. So for SCN. So we've been really working on it. We set a goal to get to 10. So I'm on the track to try and find one more, but we're going to be launching a lot of those off on May 23rd. So chapters all over the U.S. So really excited about the growth of that and the things we're doing there. So guys, if you haven't gone and visited one of our networking groups, Doug runs the San Antonio chapter, Bernie runs Growth Mode Engage at one of our national chapters. Go visit their event. Just go to successchampionnetworking.com, register to visit. They're B2B, they're virtual, and they're really filled with a bunch of get shit done type of people that will help you grow your business. So we'll be back here each and every Monday, 8 o'clock in the morning, where we freaking bring one of the SCN members in, find out about their business, put them in a hot seat, and help them grow the hell out of their business and really get after it. Doug, thanks for being on here. Bernie, kiss my ass. Stevie, love you. Otherwise, guys, love you, mean it. See you, bye.